Call this July 7th, 2025 meeting of the Carroll County PSA to order. I'd like to ask Bill to do the invocation and pledge.
Yep. Heavenly Father, we are so thankful to be here tonight. We just ask that you help us in our decision making and guide us, and we just thank you for all the hard workers that keep the PSA up and going, and we thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, looks like the first thing on our agenda tonight is citizens time. Anybody signed up for citizens time? Nobody signed up. All right, we're going to move on. Looks like next thing on our agenda is a consent agenda. I'd like to open the floor for approval of A, B, and C together, or A, B, and C separately.
I'll make a motion we approve A, B, and C together.
All right, we have a motion to approve A, B, and C together. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, start the voting. Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Bryant?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Slate?
Yes.
And I vote yes. All right, looks like the next thing is project updates. Mike, if you could take that over, please.
Sure. Exit 1 Regional Wastewater Project, we're still in the same place, the Holden, still looking for funding. We will apply this year when it comes time for to be added to the budget of the state if there's a way that we can possibly get the funding. No real change in it. Exit 1 plant update seems to be still running fine. We have not received notification that the equipment has come in, so they have not started on the screen project yet, but it shouldn't take long. They still have plenty of time to get that done.
I know we've been talking about it a while, Mike. Is that something you think going to be relatively quick?
Once they get the equipment, so they had to order the equipment and get it, and then once the manufacturer manufactures that equipment for them, 2 or 3 weeks to get it done. It's just we're waiting on the manufacturer to make the thing. So, other than that, SCADA, it is up and running. We still have the 2 sites, but we're waiting on AEP to do theirs, provide that. I know Tracy has been staying on to it, and it's just something that's out of our control. But 90, I almost say 95% of it's completed. It's just those 2 sites that are not showing, which are allowing us to get notifications as we should. Deer Ridge line extension, we're still at the same spot once we get Spring Willow. The last few weeks they haven't been working on it. We've had a lot of employees out finishing up the year. And July 1st, time rolls over, so a lot of them are trying to get their time in. We carry over 240 hours, and if you're over that, then they lose those hours. There's no way. We have discussed internally in the office to see if there's a way that, maybe that can transfer over sick time or something like that so you don't lose it, but then you're not scrambling during the years. So to try to use that time. If you've been here for a length of time, unless you take a couple weeks off in a row, a lot of us only take a day here, a day there. I lose time every year, which I usually do no matter what. So, but it's usually a rush in June to try to get rid of the days. So, Pine Grove line extension, once we get these other ones into a point where we move forward, then we'll go ahead and start that project. I don't have a starting date. We will have to have someone go out and talk to all the individuals out there to make sure they're who all wants to be hooked up as we're going out through there. So.
And speaking on that, did you just say these were working on something where everybody's not off at the same time, using their time? I mean, I understand they could use their time, but
yes, we can work on that as far as time. And we're trying to make it so that people are using their time more. And it might just be that we just have to deny time in order to do it. But we have a few offices. PSA is hard to get their time in. Like I said, if you've been here for 15 years, it's hard to use your time. One of the changes that has been done is with sick leave, when the state has changed the way VRS works, um, instead of doing the individual started after a certain time, they no longer get as many hours. Like, um, and I'm gonna say Dana here gets sick time, um, but she can accrue it up to a certain amount. I mean, over in time, you never get enough. There's some caps on those when you leave or retire. Um, but newer employees, they only get 2 weeks a year or something like that, but they have long-term disability. Short-term and long-term disability means they get paid a percentage after you miss so many days. So their sick time, they're really limited on the amount of sick time that they get. Like I can get, and I don't even know what I get, to be honest with you. 8 hours of sick time a month. Okay. So we get 8 hours sick time a month, which adds up to, I guess, 96 hours a year. A person on the hybrid plan, and don't quote me on this, they get something else. They get like, instead of, yes, they get a new amount every July that they get to use through the year. So they get less sick time. But uh, what that does is if you miss more than a certain amount of days, then they don't have to use sick time. They get paid a percentage, like 80% or 20% of their pay for a certain amount of time. So they can actually, it helps somebody that takes a bunch of days off. But if you're sick for your kid or something like that, then that makes it harder. So we're just investigating some ways in our personnel policy to try to cut back on some of the liability as far as, when a person leaves, if you have a lot of sick time or a lot of vacation, you retire, we pay those out up to a certain percentage.
Has the sick time always been accrued like that?
The state changed the way they do, and it was before my time with here. They changed the way that they do retirement. So like you had plan 1, plan 2, and plan 3. I'm on the original plan. Dana's on the original plan. So it accrues like a normal did years ago, where you get a set number of years that you've been here. You get a certain amount of sick time, certain amount of vacation time that can accrue up, and you can carry it over. We've always limited to 240 hours. If you get over 240 hours on July 1st, it can reset to 0. So what I do sometimes is allow some to carry it over. It has to be specific reason. If you're in a department and you don't have other people take those things over, I might give you until August to use that time so you don't lose it. Because if you're limited in that office, it's very difficult to get your time in, to take your time off. So if I extend it, they can use it during the summer with the desire that they start taking more time off during the year. And that lowers it so that in June of the following year, you're not having everybody take off at the same time. But usually the ones that have the amount of carryover, it's the ones that, you don't take. I mean, I get 24 days a year, okay, something like that. I get 8 hours a pay period, and then you get 8 hours a month. So you actually get 3 days on the old plan. If you've been there for a while, you'll get 3 days a month. So you get 36 days, and you work 5 days a week. So there's a lot of time that you could take, and a lot of people can't just take it. But that's some of the issue.
That's set by the state, not by the.
It's set by our personnel policy, so we can adjust it based on, 240 hours is the. There's a rule behind it that deals with the state as well. It has to do with the amount of, I want to say it has to do with comp time too, after we hit a certain amount of hours. I'd have to ask Michelle about all the fine details that goes along with it.
Does sound like something we need to look into a little bit.
But the amount of days is just a standard that most everybody has gone with. Now with the hybrid plan where you have the short-term and long-term disability, the newest plan that the state does. Now I believe that's dictated the number of days, but I can check with Michelle. One of the things we want to do is just look at a personnel policy. It's fairly dated on ways to try to help on those things. Local government, they get plenty of time off. That's one of the perks.
People don't like to take it in the winter either.
It's a pretty nice perk. I've never had any such kind of.
I use mine, to be honest with you. I take a Friday here, or if a kid has an event going on, it's one of those things you don't have to miss. Before I got into local government, I missed all kinds of things with children, and you hate that. So I encourage people here, if one of your children are having a play at school, you really need to attend those things, but as long as you get your job done.
So that's relative to the whole county, not just to the PSA.
Anybody that follows our personnel policy. So it could even be like Solid Waste Authority. They follow our personnel policy as well. Anybody we're a fiscal agent for or do their payroll for, they follow our policy.
And how often is that policy reviewed and updated?
It hasn't been since I've been here, and it probably wasn't. I'd say the last revisions were probably done when it changed, probably 18 years ago.
And that's something that, as board of supervisors, would need to do.
They would have to approve it. What we would do is staff would come through with a recommendation on how we do it. For PSA and the county, some of the other things we want to look at is probably within the upcoming year, try to update our purchase policy. Our policy says you bid out everything that's over $50,000. States, I don't know if the state might be $500,000 or something like that. You get into the expense and the time. It's normally 3 quotes, maybe 4. As far as if you get under 50,000, might be 10,000 to 50,000. You have to go out for bid. That's a low limit. 10,000. So anything over 10,000, you have to. Is it 10,000 or 50,000? I think it's 50,000. There's a point when you have to get 3 quotes, and then you go up to the other purchasing. But I mean, $50,000 is not a lot of money these days.
I will say that for the last month,
The
Everybody there to help.
Well, there should be some way in place that everybody can't take off at the same time. If we need to pay them out or whatever, but you can't run a business and have all your employees off.
but you know the one thing the other two is they encourage.
Right, but
You can't take off. I mean, it got to the point they don't allow. I mean, there was some guys that was getting encouraged comp time a week before the deadline. Still, they took off the whole time.
but maybe we should, offer them a payout or or schedule vacations.
Sounds like it's definitely a problem.
In May and stuff. 'Cause it looked like we had about the whole crew out the month of June.
I guess their time they take off still has to be approved by somebody.
It does, but one of the issues that you have is we do not pay out. I did it for Carroll County Fire and Rescue for a while there. I paid out comp time. I gave them the option of accruing comp time or paid time. You can accrue a certain amount of vacation, and it's not an expense. I'm saying it's not an expense, but you're paying that person anyway. So they're working the 40 hours a week. So let's say they're working 40 hours a week. You pay them for 40 hours a week no matter what. Okay, if they work overtime, we don't pay overtime. We give them comp time as a way to use it. Okay, comp time is a direct liability. You have to pay that no matter what. Okay, so eventually when they hit a certain imbalance, you have to pay them for any amount of comp time over, I don't want to say it's 240 hours, okay, or something like that. And the EMS is different. They have a higher rate, okay? So generally, a person we encourage them to use comp time before they use vacation time. So if a guy goes out on a, and we'll use a PSA, they go out on a leak on a Saturday and they do, say they get 8 hours, okay? They accrue 8 hours of comp time, okay, at time and a half. So that is, you either pay them now or you let them take the time off.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but what I'm saying is your vacation time. Any place I've ever worked, your seniority people put on the calendar what they want off. Then the next person. That way you don't have 4 people off the same week.
But see, what we got into is when that all this occurred, and myself, Dana, Mike, none of us are gonna say, well, you can't take off because you lose. And they just have so much of the, like Mike said, the comp time guilt that, I mean, we still have 2 guys off today.
It sounds like we do have to figure out some options.
Yeah, because I mean, it's hard for me or Dana or Mike, any of us to say, well, you can't take off if you've occurred that.
Yeah.
And, you know, when they're good about going out, and they have to go out on weekends and nights and stuff. I mean, and they want to take that vacation with their family. You're not going to say, hey, you can't do that. What really happened is, I think, used to we had a little trouble with it, but it's where we're so short-staffed. It makes it harder to work it out,
Right.
I guess you would say, because we used to try to keep them, I mean, they can accrue comp time. We used to try to make them keep that down as during that week if we could, years ago when we had more people, but we don't have it. I mean, you just can't. You don't have the availability.
And you know, just like Josh Hill there, he had a day, and they talked about it, he had a week vacation plan, he come back tomorrow, and then he had a day in there that he needed to take. And he worked with us by taking it to help us, like 2 hours this evening, 2 hours tomorrow evening. He didn't take a full day because he knew what a time we were in. But yeah, it's tough, but you know, the guys have occurred it, and it's no different than maintenance or anywhere else.
And I think Dana hit on a good point. You don't have the employees. We lose. I mean, you lose 2 employees. I mean, you got.
We got a hit line right now, and some crew guys are working.
We just heard about that.
They'll occur time too.
So there's no option of paying them overtime. You just gonna give them comp time every
I
time.
mean, you already pull money out of savings now. I mean, it's if you want to pay them for vacation time, but you know, a lot of, you know, we could pay out all the comp time and they wouldn't have to work it. But then I mean, you're in a balance. I mean, we could figure out a way to do it, but are you going to overwork your people doing it? I mean, if you got people working 60 hours a week every week, and then you never give them the time off that they have.
Are we needing
And I'm not saying never give them a time off, but there has to be a solution to where everybody's not off the same week. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you can accommodate time and accumulate time, but you can't tell me that everybody wants to take the time the same week. I mean, that's I mean, you've got a whole year. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you know if you're gonna have comp time, vacation time, you're gonna know that last year. They're gonna know that in January.
Tracy, I keep hearing we're short staffed. Do we need some more staff?
What would really, me, Mike, and Dana have all talked about, was to get somebody to just do the work order and that way the ladies have somebody there that.
I heard Mike mention that earlier.
Dana, I mean, me and her gotta communicate 3 or 4 times a day, who can do something.
Yeah.
Just pulling all the time. We had a week this morning that helped us run. Work order, there's nobody done them today.
Yeah.
So, Rocky was off. We had 3 weeks today, and pump stations with water, and we're 2 quarters short.
We could hire 3 additional employees and still have more than enough to do. I mean, before COVID, I mean, there was 12. Now we got, counting Tracy, 5.
Oh, man. 12 in the field.
So do we have intentions of filling those vacancies?
You know, you know,
You saying
when
you
you're
had
running,
12 in the field, or is that complete with all of us?
Us, yeah.
Yeah, they was, yeah, back in the day, they was putting full guys, not kept office staff. But I think the one struggle and hurdle that we have so much trouble with, we can get the work done in the field. But it's hard to do that, like in the morning. Dana's gonna need somebody to do just for instance tomorrow. This is what we're facing right now. We're facing three guys that's gonna be out late this week. They'll be there tomorrow. Everybody be back. I need Rodney because we're gonna do a bore and a rock call for spring wheeler, when we cut the driveway tomorrow. And then Dana's gonna need somebody in the office. I call the police or whatever, and we do not have that person. And it's just a constant. We communicate 7-8 times a day trying to get their things done. If we had that dedication, then that takes our struggles off, trying to find somebody to do that.
My feeling is that position needs to be filled pretty quick.
You know, we did have someone years ago that's basically what he did. He did work orders, and then he read meters, and that was it. And what helps with that is because time we get everybody going every which way with work orders, we don't even know. It's hard to keep up with who went there to know who was supposed to turn it in. You know, if we had one dedicated person for just work orders and to read meters,
Dana might call me and I have, Cody to be available pump station, and work on whatever deal free. I'll send him, and it's not our normal drive.
Would you have it in the budget to hire that person, or no?
we did add it as part-time salaries in order to put that in there as well.
So it's a part-time person. How many hours? 30?
30, less than 30. 30, you get over 30, starts requiring you to provide health insurance. Health insurance is anywhere between $8,000 to $15,000 more a year.
That'll be something really easy to train. I mean, it's not affecting long term.
but finding somebody that would want to work part-time is the hard part.
That you can send out by themselves to do something.
All right, is that everything on the project updates?
And we'll work to try to make sure we don't have more than a couple people off at a time in order to try to make this work.
All right, looks like the next thing on our agenda is new business. I guess we've kind of touched on some of the new business already. How about the old business? We got any old business tonight we need to talk about?
Nothing I'm aware of.
All right, last thing on our agenda tonight is authority members time. I guess I'll start with Mr. Bryant.
All right, yeah, I just start out by saying I thank everybody for hard work and dedication. I know this last few weeks have been really hot outside, so I know it's putting a strain on the people working outdoors. So just thank everybody for that. And I would say that, you know, in my opinion, it would definitely make it way more efficient if you could, you know, hire this person you're talking about to do meter reading and work orders. So other than that, that's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Mr. Dixon.
Just want to thank staff and all the workers we have for everything they do. That's all I have.
Mr. Collins.
Yeah, just a couple of questions, Mike. Number one, what can this board or what can whoever do to help get the funding that's needed for Exit 1? We missed it last year, correct?
Well, we've applied, we have our share. We do not have VDOT's share. And that's the issue. We went for a budget amendment last year. Both representatives that put in last year are going to push forward harder this year. It's borrowing the money and somebody to make the payment. I mean, we can go out and apply for a loan for the other $2.8 million, but that's what will have to happen. Now, there might be an opportunity to be able to add a customer down that area if it becomes possible, you might be able to generate enough funds off of it to help with the payment.
I mean, if there's money available out there somewhere that we can find, if some of us can help do that, I mean, we've talked about it for a long time. It
Well, they
just,
tried to do a budget amendment last year with the state,
yeah,
and it didn't get passed.
right.
So hopefully, the delegates can get us some money there.
Yeah, I mean, anything we can do to help encourage those delegates, I mean, we just need to know. And as far as the personnel issue goes, I mean, I agree with Bill. I think it was Bill, it might have been Greg who said it, that it sounds like to me we'd be better off hiring a few extra people rather than trying to pay all the overtime. I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty nice package. We need to absolutely go through the personnel policy and see what's there. I've never worked a job where they had that kind of benefits of accruing sick time. In 44 years of working, I've never taken a day of sick time. But I've never worked jobs where you had it available, so can't afford to be sick.
And it is generally a standard. We do not provide more than what other agencies do. And where you're having the individuals with the time off, we're not paying the overtime. They're just getting the time off for it. So do you pay more money and pay the overtime and those type things, or do you let them take the time off? Generally, the county has in the past, if person gets comp time, then where they're working out what we're calling overtime, if they're getting overtime, generally don't pay it because you budget without doing the overtime. You budget it for those people to be off. So that's one of the things we can do. We can pay comp time out. But when I have paid comp time out just to keep the employees in the seats because you just don't have enough. And we've gotten to some of them will say, I don't want that. If they use their time, then they're going to want to build as much comp time as they can because that's extra vacation days they take in the summer or whatever to those type things. So it's just a matter of paying the overtime or having more employees or allow them to take time off. Time off, more employees, or paying them out. That's your three options. And when you're running a budget in the red year round, it's hard to pay out. So you might not get things done as quick as you want to, but the balance of how much money you want to pay out on these things too.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Mr. Slate?
I'd just like to say I appreciate all our employees, and I empathize with the personnel situation that you're in right now. That's always a tough one, and I feel like if we have budgeted for a part-time position, that the sooner that we feel that, I think the better off we'd be, especially if it's already in the budget. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Slate. Basically, I just want to reiterate, I appreciate everything the staff's doing, and like Bill said, it's hot weather, and I know it's a lot of hard work you guys are doing right now. I do look forward to hearing more about this personnel policy and looking into that some and see what we can do to help you guys resolve this issue. But that's all I got. I'm going to say thank you. Mr. Watson?
I don't have anything.
All right. I'd like to entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
Second. All right, start the voting. Mr. Slate?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Bryant?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
And I vote yes.